What's up, everybody? Okay, do you guys know that even if we all ate the same and exercised the same, that we would all still look completely different? I'm Lacey Green, a super trainer with Body. That's BODI.com. And I'm telling you, this is something you need in your life. The app is about feeling amazing as we help you get life-changing results. That's called Health Esteem. Feeling good about yourself right now as you work on the person you are becoming, using Body's easy-to-follow programs. Body isn't just some app. It's a day-by-day plan, and it's people, it's trainers, delicious meal planning, and even positive mindset experts. And Body features my program for beginners only, which you have to try even if you've never worked out a day in your life. And here's how I'll make it a total no-brainer. Join Body today and you can get 1 month free. That's a $29 value. A full free month just for joining today and letting me help you start your lifestyle transformation. I do not want you to miss this free month offer. Just go to body.com. That's body with an I.com.
How dare the left compare Suella Braverman's speech to the British Union of Fascists? Suella would never join a union. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello, and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined, as ever, by my producer, Martin, and what a show we have for you this week, eh, Martin?
Oh, yes, indeed. This week, we've been up to Manchester for the Conservative Party conference, and we spoke to representatives from both wings of the party about how they feel it went. We also had Eshaan Akbar with his hot and spicy takeaway about Suella Braverman's speech.
Yes, Manchester, is that how it's pronounced?
I think so, yes. Yeah.
Yes, right, okay. Is simply buzzing with energy and new ideas. And let me ask you this. If it wasn't, why would Toploader have agreed to perform here? And this week, we've done so much on the radio show that we can't fit it all into this highlights podcast. For example, we had a very powerful interview with an audience member whose night out at Les Miserables was ruined by a Just Stop Oil protest. I just think if you go out to see Les Miserables, the last thing you want to think about is protesters.
Yes. We also had a piece on HS2, which we'd been planning for months. But in the end, it was just too difficult to finish it, so we chucked it in the bin.
Now, don't forget, we have a live show at the Museum of Comedy in London on the 18th of October, where our guests will include Nadine Dorries and Jordan Peterson. Tickets are available at museumofcomedy.com, and you'll be able to ask them your questions live.
If you can't make it but have a question for Nadine or Jordan, you can email it to us at noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. You can also email us comments, compliments, and gift vouchers.
Gift vouchers.
Well, it's worth a try, isn't it?
But on to this week's show, and we brought together the two wings of the Conservative Party, represented by grassroots activist Phalyida Pritchard-Biltong and MP Hugh Brisket. Let's take a listen. Phalyida, Hugh, how are you finding the conference so far? Hugh, let's start with you.
Thank you very much, Harriet. Yes, it's a wonderful conference. There's a real buzz in the air. I think everyone's very happy about how the conference is going. You know, and I think if there's one thing you can say about the Conservative Party is that we're a very sensible, moderate party with some really quite wonderfully easy to digest views.
Great. Oh, absolutely brilliant. And Phalyida, I think I saw you dancing the other night with Nigel and Pretty. Very, very good fun. So you must be having a wonderful time.
Yeah, I am. As you know, I'm part of the Young Tories. I'm just a very ordinary South London girl, so people don't always expect that of me. But yes, and I went along and it was so brilliant. Toploader, just outstanding band, best British band since the Beatles, everyone's saying it. And I just had a great night. And I'm very upset, I suppose you could say, by the fact that people are jealous that some of us got to dance to Toploader when at the Labour conference, guess who they've got?
Who?
They've got Toploader, but we had them first.
Oh,
right.
Right.
Brilliant. You beat them.
Interesting.
And Phalyida, you are a young a young blood, young Tory. Do you think that, there's a lot of talk about how Tories appeal to the older generation? What do you think it offers young people?
As a young Tory, which means I'm under 40, they have a true vision. And nothing has been clearer than that at this conference, the true vision that they're putting out there. They're not afraid to handle the big issues facing people today. And I think that's exciting. And that's what's drawn Nigel Farage back to the party, Big Nige.
So do you think if Nigel wanted to come back in the party, would you welcome him with open arms?
Oh, it would be heaven.
Well, I mean, listen, we're always open to anybody that wants to come. But, I think Nigel's got his own thing going on there and he's doing a wonderful job. Fair play to him. But we don't need him in the Conservative Party at the moment because I think we're full.
Oh, you're full. Brilliant. And there was a bit of a mean chat about how at the beginning the conference was looking a bit empty. But was that just sort of bad optics, I expect, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, this, any estate agent will tell you it's where you put the camera. It makes the room look bigger. It makes the room look emptier. And it makes people inside the room look miserable. But that wasn't the case. There was a lot of joy to be had there. It was, it was like Christmas for Conservatives, Conservative Christmas.
Oh, Conservative Christmas. What a wonderful idea. What a wonderful idea. And we had some amazing speeches. We had Penny telling us to stand up and fight. Golly, it made me want to stand up and fight. I don't know about you two.
Yes. She said that if you stand up and fight, other nations, they stand up and fight too, which you'd sort of think you wouldn't want, but actually we do want it if it's the right kind of standing up and fighting.
Yes, it did make me think that perhaps we were all going to stand up and all fight, which is probably not a great thing when it comes to international punch-ups.
Yes, no, Martin, I'm with you 100% there. I think Penny was obviously very passionate in her speech.
Very passionate.
Very passionate.
Very passionate.
I think, holding that sword, she's just getting a bit riled up. But I think when she says fighting, she what she means there is discussion. Right. Get into a discussion. I don't want anyone to think that the Conservative Party is engaging in fist fighting, and I certainly know that Penny didn't mean that when she suggested fighting.
Well, I guess stand up and discuss doesn't have the same sort of ring to it, does it, Hugh?
Well, I don't know. I think you could get that on a T-shirt and it would look very nice.
I would buy that T-shirt, actually. I think that is a good T-shirt.
Yes, it's a very Producer Martin T-shirt.
Design that while we're having this chat, actually.
Phalyida, what do you think that we should be standing up and fighting against?
I think it's really obvious from the speeches we have heard at conference what that is. I look at Suella's incredible speech that even papers like the Observer was saying was actually very rousing. Even if you don't necessarily agree with every point in it, although I did. She's telling us that a hurricane is coming, and she's not talking about climate change, which of course isn't real.
No, she's talking about a hurricane of people. And that's the thing. And actually, one of those people had swept into the hall and had to be ejected after he did a really, quite grotesque heckle.
It was violent, and I'm not easily offended.
Yeah.
Well, could you not maybe suggest that what happened with the Conservative that was asked to leave, that he was trying to stand up and fight?
No, he was seated. Was seated.
Right. So, I suppose he was sitting down.
He was more of the sit and discuss quarter, I think. But not in a good way, in a hurricane-type way.
Well, I just think we need to be very careful when we're bandying around these terms like hurricane, because I think, in all the hustle and bustle of a man being dejected by the police, I think we've missed sight of what Suella was actually saying. And when she says a hurricane is coming, she means, in a fun way. It's a fun hurricane.
Like the Wizard of Oz.
Like the Wizard of Oz, suddenly,
and
when it lands.
Let's not forget that in the Wizard of Oz, it was a hurricane. It was quite scary for Dorothy and Toto. But then they landed in a magical world and met a fairy.
And a lion.
There was lots of little orange men. But you can't say that anymore, of course. Can't say little orange men.
Well, no, you probably shouldn't say that. No. But, after the hurricane came, everything was in colour. So, it might have been scary at the time, but after that, It was a whole new world, lots of opportunities. Obviously, they crushed a woman to death. Let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the bright, technicolor view that's, was in front of Dorothy.
Yeah, and there are going to be casualties, aren't they? If you're standing up and fighting, there are going to be casualties. And in a hurricane of migrants, I guess.
Well,
then
look, I just want us to think about what we mean when we say fighting. And again, it's not, aggressive fisticuffs. It's robust debate. And that's what this Conservative Party is all about.
Sorry, robust a what?
Robust debate.
Robust debate.
It's
Robust debate.
I think you're having a bit of trouble with his
it's robust debate.
Robust debate.
Accent
Robust debate.
there, Harriet.
Robust debate.
I think it's perfectly clear we can all have a robust debate, together on our own. It doesn't really matter as long as we're robust debating. That's all that that's what we should be doing as a party.
Do you think there's a lot of shame around robust debating, and we should sort of bring it more in the open?
No, you should never be ashamed of your robust debating. I am perfectly comfortable with myself when I'm doing it, and that's the way everybody should feel.
Well,
wonderful.
I'm glad to have got that sorted out. So just to clarify, we weren't talking so much as a terrifying hurricane that should be fought with knives, but more like Jimmy the Whirlwind White turning up to the Snooker World Championships and putting on a fun display of snooker that everyone can enjoy.
Producer Martin, no one knows who those people are.
And is quite a famous snooker
There's
player.
been a lot of chat about the kind of nefarious forces attacking the Conservative Party in this conference. One is Labour. Now, Phalyida, you're a Tory activist, you're on the ground. It'd be great if you could tell us, but just some of the things that you've been hearing that Labour are doing, because I've been hearing some absolutely appalling things.
They're going to ban meat. You heard that one. People are very concerning, interesting, going to look into it. They want to ban schools from even knowing that religion exists. Have you heard about that?
Wow.
First,
No,
they banned Christmas, which they literally did from 1997 to 2010. There were no Christmases. It was all just keep working all the way through. Unless you're poor, in which case here's free money from the rich. That went on for 13 years, and they honestly think they can just start that again, but on steroids this time, because they're actively going to ban any talk of religion in schools.
Oh my goodness.
Unless it's Islam.
Wow.
I just thought of that.
That's a thing, isn't it?
How would I have come up with that without having heard it? Someone has to hear these things.
Yeah, someone's told you that.
I must have
heard it. And this is the worry, isn't it? And Hugh, I'm sure you'll agree with me here that the worry is that they're going to make all of us Muslim. They might not, they kind of do it in this happy, clappy, no, let's respect all religions. But we know where that ends up. It ends up with us all praying to Allah.
I mean, does it? I'm not sure that that's the case. I think, again, it's when the buzz of the conference is going, there's a lot of talk. It comes, like Chinese whispers, but it doesn't necessarily have to be Chinese. But, it's just that sense of people misinterpreting what's been said here. No one is saying they're turning people Muslim. That's not possible.
Phalydia's heard it. So
I've heard it.
As she says, did that come from anywhere?
Do you work for them, Hugh? Do you really think that seat should be your seat if you're working for Labour?
Oh, I thought you meant working for the Muslims. No, I am not working for Muslims or Labour.
I've just heard that you're working for Muslims. In the sentence you just used.
This is an exclusive. Hugh Brisket, MP, is working for the Muslims.
Fine.
We've got nothing against the Muslims.
I don't think
Hugh,
that's an exclusive. Perhaps we should just see what Hugh has to say about this. Hugh, I don't think that's what you're saying, is it? And if you were, absolutely fine. No problem with working for Muslims. They're all right.
We're not here to shame you, Hugh. That's just something. Just like Labour want to tax meat, you want to work with Muslims, and
Well, look, I'm not. I don't work for Muslims. I work for a Muslim in my secondary job. He just happens to be Muslim, but it's a very reputable, financial institution. I am saying that religion is free and welcome wherever it lies. If that's in schools, fine. Busing the priests into school.
The priests.
I don't think we should put a bus full of priests. I mean, what school needs a bus full
Is
of...
that also
There's too many priests.
policy that Rishi's planning to scrap? Because I don't know, priests in buses, I just think that brings a whole world.
Well, the bus is going to go all the way up to Manchester? Or are the buses going to stop at Birmingham?
I don't know at the moment. I don't know. I think Rishi may have changed his mind on the priest buses, the clergy coaches. I don't know that that's specifically happening.
What you've got to be careful of, I just have to say, Hugh, is that what we found, because taxing meat was originally a Tory policy that wasn't actually a policy, and now it's a Labour policy that's not actually a policy. And I just think you need to be careful, because if you start this talk about buses of priests, before you know it, that's what Labour's going to be doing.
Yes, I mean, absolutely.
And they're getting more powerful, and if they've got buses of priests and, all their sacks of meat, who knows where it could go?
They're already running the country and dictating how we all have to think. Next thing, they're going to want to be the actual government. Yeah. And that's something that's very concerning.
Yeah, that's the thing. They are the elite, and we've got to be very careful. We've got to stand up and fight, in fact, is what I'd say. I think we need to stand up and fight against Labour, against the woke elite, and maybe one day we can rule the country.
But I think I just want us to be aware that the future is not as bleak as it seems. Certainly post-Brexit, we are talking about sunlit uplands, and I want people to know that they are genuine uplands of, streets filled with meat, not, people brawling on pub corners with priests, hidden in schools. That's not the future that the Conservative Party is proposing.
Okay, but this is interesting, Hugh, because talking about the future of the Conservative Party, now, in Rishi's speech, he talked about how he is scrapping HS2. Now, we talked about this a bit on the podcast last week, but people are up in arms. And is it time that we're going to be, he said, we're going to be reinvesting in other trains, so we're going to have good trains in the north. Do you think there's any point in doing that? I mean, maybe it's, we've tried with the north, we've tried to give them HS2. They clearly can't handle it. Let's just leave them alone.
I think I think the people in the north would like to be left alone, but that's not this party's priority. We will be interfering with their travel as best we can, but ultimately it is about getting people out of northern cities as best as possible.
Phalyida, do you know any northern people?
No.
That's the problem. I don't think any of us do.
I'm just an ordinary South London girl.
Yeah. I mean, I know quite a few northern people, and they're actually, you might be surprised to know.
Are they a bit like Producer Martin? I always imagine, the sort of Morlocks, is it?
What? Moorhens?
In
Lord of the Rings.
Yes, that's the one. The ones in the time machine, and they sort of, they're a bit sort of kind of underground blue and...
Well, you're talking about Oompa Loompas again? What? I'm not sure.
No, not Oompa Loompas, and you can't say that anymore, Producer Martin, because the wokies will get you.
Listen, they're just normal people, and they want normal things.
I don't know,
trains.
But I'd heard a rumour that Labour was going to ban The Wizard of Oz being shown around Christmas.
I think that's unlikely, surely. I mean, everyone likes The Wonderful Wizard.
Can you verify this?
I heard it. No, I heard it. I heard it just now from you.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Where did it come from with me? It didn't come out of nowhere, did it?
No, and I heard it just you.
Very worrying. So they want to tax meat, they want to ban Christmas and ban The Wizard of Oz being shown around Christmas. They want to put priests in buses.
They want to be the government.
I'm sorry. I feel I need to wade in here a little because, I mean, we've had a lot of hearsay. Unfortunately, I don't believe there is a single policy here that Labour is pushing. This is a lot of chat. I mean, if you're just going to repeat things that you've heard, I could say, what about Sasquatch? Maybe he's coming back.
What's he done?
Labour are interested in inviting Yeti over, and Bigfoot. I think they're all the same monster, but just from different parts of the world. But still, there's going to be 40 Yetis in the UK by the end of the year. What about that? Is that now
is Labour doing that?
This is very concerning.
Well, no, I was saying it as something
frightful.
No,
I don't think Labour should be letting Yetis into the country.
Well,
that's absolutely pandemonium.
I don't think. No, but that's my the point that.
They're so dangerous. I mean, this is the thing. If Labour get in, it's going to be complete destruction. And, Yetis, as far as I understand it, Hugh, maybe you know more about this than I do. I don't think Yetis are very good with humans. I think they can be quite aggressive.
They mainly hide.
I think it's too soon to say. It's too soon to say, and I would not like us to become the anti-Yeti party just yet. Right. I think there is still time for us to understand that before we were to blow that out of proportion.
It would just be a shame that we have to stop the boat and stop the Yetis.
I'm going to stand up and fight the Yetis.
Oh, wow, Phalyida.
Well, I mean, they're meant to be somewhere in the region of 20 foot tall, so I don't think you
I can take
a great
one.
chance. But look,
I'm the youngest Tory, therefore the most spry.
Wow. Phalyida, well done. But the thing is, Phalydia, that these Yetis will be coming in their little boats. And, one person can't do it all. Do you know what I mean?
But I could take one and Big Nigel take another one.
This is the thing. I sometimes feel, Hugh, I'm sorry, but sometimes I think, well, maybe Nigel would take on these Yetis.
I'm sure he would, but I just don't think it's appropriate to suggest that we're sending out a 1 or 2 person army to battle Yetis. I can't help but thinking we're getting a little bit off topic here. I don't want that to be the main takeaway from the Conservative Party.
But we need to be a party.
The Labour policies,
We need to be a party that talks about big issues. And instead of concentrating on things like climate change and poverty, why aren't we concentrating on those 0.1% of the population that is trans and Yetis?
Yes. And I was a bit surprised, actually, from what we've learned today, that Rishi not just talked about trans issues, but he didn't talk about Yetis. And that makes me a bit worried.
Because he's woke and no one's got the courage to say it. He is woke. And that is why Nigel is so popular. It's all about big ideas. And Rishi doesn't have big ideas. He doesn't even have big suits.
Well, I think Rishi might be the wokest Conservative leader we've had. Actually,
I'm sorry. I met him once at a party, and I would absolutely say that from the jokes he was telling, he is not that woke. I think, look, we're a modern Conservative party, and that is about being accepting of people.
No.
And I think that was clear in Rishi's speech. If you listen between the lines of what he was saying, I think people would say, oh, that's fairly reasonable.
Well, listen, both, we're going to have to wrap this up. You've been absolutely wonderful. I'm having such a great time here at this conference. Good luck to you. I think we can all say, let's stand up and fight.
No.
Next time on a very spooky fine dining podcast, the season 1 finale, TGI Fridays the 13th. Oh, you betcha, pineapple's gonna hit the fan as Michael's son Juicy, or in this episode, Juice son Voorhees, goes on a murderous rampage, and no one is safe. It gets real spooky, it gets real bloody, and not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the episode. Who will live, who will die? Listen to Fine Dining, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America, break down a trip to TGI Fridays based on the atmosphere, the service, and the food, and try not to be scared to death. Hear the thrilling finale of Fine Dining, Wednesday, October 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, one of the standout moments of the conference was Suella Braverman's speech, which Quentin Letts of the Daily Mail compared to receiving a prostate exam.
And that sounds like the sort of thing some silly internet comedians made up for a joke. But it's actually true.
Anyway, to give his hot and spicy takeaway of the conference, recorded immediately after Suella's speech, here is Eshaan Akbar. Hello, Eshaan Akbar. What's that? Is that Hey Macarena?
You're humming a little tune there.
Yeah, little tune, little ditty from Top Loader, who are performing at the Conservative Party Conference 2023. Pow, 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 pow. I've got CPC fever, Harriet. CPC fever.
I mean, it's wonderful, isn't it? They get the best of the best at the Conservative conference.
Absolutely.
People say they don't, but they do.
We hear from the best bands. We hear from the best people. They have the best merchandise. It is the best thing happening in Manchester, nay, the country.
Yep, it's the best place to be. I mean, Thorpe Park, eat your heart out, is what I say.
Absolutely. And do you know what? It really has been a thought park there.
We're
not calling that a joke, are we? Surely.
Very good. Thought Park, though, Martin. It's like Thought Park, but it's
I know, I got it.
It's also thought.
I got it.
Big thoughts.
Very good. It's very good. Now, Eshaan, you are here, as usual, to give us your hot and spicy takeaway, not just of the week, but this is a Conservative Party special. So, hot and spicy of the Conservative Party conference.
Well, look, as I've mentioned, to me, this conference very much has been a thought park. Some amazing thoughts have come out of the mouths of Conservative Party top brass. But of course, the queen of thoughts is Suella Braverman.
Oh, we stand.
My goodness, she has been in imperious form. Imperious form.
Yes.
She said such sensible things as trans women should not be in female hospital wards, a sentiment I know most of the country agrees with.
Got to be careful of a trans woman who's got a cold.
Absolutely. She's had some wonderful thoughts that people from certain communities, they simply do not integrate.
No.
They don't integrate. And they should be allowed to say that out loud, not be afraid of the wokerati to say it.
Yeah.
She said that multiculturalism has failed. So the hot and spicy takeaway is basically this. Suella Braverman is right about everything.
Yes. Oh, that's a great takeaway. A great takeaway.
Is it a great takeaway? I mean, I'm sorry, Eshaan. I do appreciate your inputs every week. But to just agree with Suella Braverman, that it doesn't feel very hot or spicy. Okay. It feels like a mild korma to just agree with Suella and everything that she's saying at the conference.
Eshaan Akbar, I'm not going to be lectured on the spice level of various curries by you.
But this is not trying to get into a curry off. You know, I wouldn't.
Definitely. If you would give me the privilege of just currying on, that would be great.
I mean, I will, but I don't recognise that as a joke. But yes.
That's
very good. To use your analogy, this is very much a hot and spicy takeaway. It's hot because everyone is talking about it. And this is the views of the country that Suella Braverman is espousing. And it's spicy because you're not allowed to say these things anymore.
No, the wokerati won't let you. No. Do you know what? Even Suella Braverman has been attacked even by Priti Patel, who's now gone woke. She said that Suella Braverman's rhetoric was all about attention without delivery on policy. So she's getting it from all sides. You
leave them alone for long enough, they fight amongst themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
look
who
what
are
happened.
They? What, the woke? Wait, is Priti part of the blob now?
It looks that way, producer Martin.
But if you think about it,
right after her dance with Nigel Farage.
It's true. People, they read the same papers. They listen to the same songs. They eat the same food. They send their children to the same schools. Their children have the same jobs.
Wait, who are we talking about, Eshaan? Who are
the people who don't integrate.
Oh, I
talking
see. Right.
Yes.
For a moment there, I thought you were talking about people who join the Tory party.
Well, I mean, they might be some of the people who fall within the definitions of people who don't integrate. They go for walks in and around Islington and Chipping Norton, and they eat the same kind of croissants and avocados of a week. They walk their children and they have the same kind of dogs.
But I think that's all right, though, isn't it? Because we were here first.
You were where first?
We were here first.
Who's we? Who do you mean by we?
Harriet, I'm going to advise you not to answer that question. Yeah, I don't think we need to establish who the we is. No, I'm sick of filling in paperwork to explain why we're not, part of the problem.
Who's we?
The croissant eaters, Eshaan. The croissant eaters and the Islington walkers.
Right.
And send their children to private schoolers, but obviously not just any private school, obviously the good ones, the ones that are worth sending your children to, not the just standard private schools.
Yes, of course. Yes.
You see, the problem I have, Eshaan, is that what you're describing there is effectively an expat community, isn't it? I mean, it's the people that go and like to spend time together. They move to a certain place and they eat a nice food. It's like any Brits abroad.
Yeah, nice expats.
Holiday. Yeah, going off having your chips. What about that culture?
The thing is, what's happening here is people are coming here on holiday and then not leaving.
Yes, that's what's happening.
That's the thing.
Yes.
Come for the sun, stay for the food.
Yes. So 200, 300, 500, 600 years ago, some people came here on holiday.
Yeah.
I think they were called Vikings or Romans, maybe even longer. They came here on holiday and haven't left. And this has been a problem for many centuries.
Too many Vikings.
They stay in places like Chester and Cornwall.
I don't want to shame anyone, but producer Martin is from Irish blood.
There's another group. The Irish.
Well, yes, I mean,
came over here on an Irish holiday, which we know the Irish love to do.
Yes.
And they used to do all the time.
Yes.
Is that producer Martin's great producer Martin came round on a little boat, hoping to have a little holiday.
Not even one iota of an Irish goodbye. Not one iota, no.
And then...
Still here.
Did they integrate? No, they jigged around in their little pubs.
That's offensive.
And all these pubs just popped up everywhere. You can't move for an Irish pub.
Selling their lucky charms. But only to each other, not to the lucky charms to everybody else.
Poison us with this Guinness.
You're just listing off a lot of popular Irish things there, and it's actually not that offensive.
They've absolutely bewitched us.
Oh, that's very clever. Did you see what he did there, producer Martin? Because Bewitched were a band in the 90s who were Irish. So, producer Martin, actually, just because this is quite relevant.
Yes.
Do your grandparents speak English or do they only speak Irish?
Yeah, what do your grandparents speak?
They are dead.
Oh.
They died.
Did they integrate before they died?
They did enjoy jigs from time to time, but no more than the average person would.
Irish person, which is higher than most.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you only jig when you're happy, but the jig is a distraction. I mean, the point is that they spoke English, but I don't think we're doing a special on the contributing factors that led to the Irish diaspora around the world.
Do you think Suella should be more vocal about the Irish community?
I really hope she doesn't talk about the Irish community at all, to be honest.
Why?
I feel like it's not going to help, Eshaan. I mean, it would be interesting to hear what her take was, for a moment.
I feel like when she's talking about the lack of integration, that's what she's talking about. She's talking about these centuries-old communities. And if she casts her mind forward to the present time, she's trying to get ahead of the problem. Because we have precedent for this. The Romans, the Vikings, the Irish, the Anglo-Saxons came over here.
The Anglo-Saxons, though, those are all right.
Well, I mean, they've
been here for a while now. They've done their time. They've stayed here for a while.
I mean, we had to change doth to does because doth doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, that's very true. That was silly.
They bastardized the language and kept forcing their customs and cultures upon us. And so one day, in 500 years' time, borscht might become the national dish. And what do we do then?
Can I just say, Eshaan, borscht, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. I've had it. Give it a try.
Sorry.
I feel like I'm being interrupted.
Sorry, you've got to go, producer Martin. You can't say things like that.
Get out. Speaking out of turn.
Get out,
He said it first. I can't.
No, come on. You had to leave.
It's just
you
loud.
have to leave, producer Martin. What you said is silly. Get out.
Producing the show.
Get out.
I'm in the middle of... I'm producing
Why are there no security guards in here?
Where are
Get him
they?
out.
What,
Come on, move them out.
No, stop it.
Well, it's great. I mean, we've never had to use them before, but here they are, manhandling producer Martin out of the studio.
Leave your lanyard.
Yes, producer Martin, you think about what you've done.
I left my umbrella.
So, Eshaan, now we've got rid of the disruption, and I'm sorry about that. What do you want to see from Suella Braverman? What would you like her to say?
I want Suella Braverman to continue down this path. I would like her to start a podcast. And
great, yes.
Even write a book.
Brilliant,
About her struggle.
Yes, I think we need that. I think we really need that.
And the struggle of the country. Our Struggle. A book called Our Struggle.
Our Struggle and Mine.
Yes.
By Suella Braverman. You can have that, Suella.
That's yours, Suella.
Eshaan, thank you very much for your hot and spicy takeaway of the week.
Right.
Now, how do I turn this thing off? Oh, God. Martin? Well, that's it for this week. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, buy tickets to the live show on the 18th of October at museumofcomedy.com. Send a passive-aggressive reply to the out-of-context, non-censored Twitter account to keep them on their toes. And keep those questions coming too. noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. With thanks to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Suze Kempner, Rob Gilroy and Ed Morrish. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and we'll be back next week with more Non-Censored.